Right, so are you all familiar with the Cinderella story? I'm pretty sure that you do, and by now you even probably have a clear plot in your head. So there is a lovely girl named Cinderella who is persecuted by her stepmother and stepsisters who go to the ball, leaving Cinderella with house chores to prevent her from going to the ball. And then a fairy makes an appearance to help her by presenting her at the ball, but on the condition that she must return home by midnight. So Cinderella goes to the ball where she dances with the charming prince. So the clock strikes 12 o'clock, so she returns home, but she leaves behind one of her glass slippers, with which the prince finds and marries Cinderella, hence the happily ever after ending. Now, if you think that this is the only plot unique to this story, then you're mistaken, because in fact there are hundreds of variants regarding this story, and some of the versions, I can tell you, are very gory and bloody, and I'd like to share just a few of them to show you how they're different from the ones we know. Are you ready to hear the stories? All right, let's dig in. The oldest Cinderella was born in China in 860 AD. Now, the overall plot is the same, but for this version, the story takes place in a cave. So instead of Cinderella, we have a cave girl named Yeshin. Also, instead of a fairy, we have a fish as a supernatural being that helps her to go to the festival. So the fish is the only friend that Yeshin has. However, as the fish keeps getting bigger and bigger, the evil stepmother comes in to kill the fish by cutting it into half. And Yeshin collects the fish bone and makes her wish to go to the ball, or in this case, a cave festival. Her wish is granted, so she goes to the ball, and this time she actually doesn't have any curfew, which is good. However, she still goes to the house and leaves behind her slipper when she runs away from her stepmother. Now, this is how she meets the king of a cave kingdom and marries him. Now, the writer here for this version takes the story further by punishing the stepmother and stepsisters who are stoned to death by the villagers. Now, this version is already very bloody and gory itself. However, the writers continue to develop the stories into a less forgiving one. And I think it's worth bringing our attention to Wilhelm Grimm's version, which was published in 1812 in Germany. Now, again, the overall plot is the same, but this time we have an ash girl. Now, the reason that she's called the ash girl is because the stepmother throws beans into the ash and tells her that she has to pick out and collect all the beans before she goes to the ball. So she needs help this time too. And this time, instead of a fairy or a fish, we have doves, or birds who come and pick out all the beans for her. So she goes to the ball again, meets her charming prince, and returns home by midnight, and leaves her glass slipper, with which the prince finds and marries Ash Girl. And this is where the really gory part comes in. One of the stepsisters here actually cut her own toe in order to fit her foot into the shoe. However, the prince saves himself from the trick when he sees blood on her foot. Also, the writer also punishes the stepmother and stepsisters by having the doves peck out their eyes and blinding them. Yes, very gory. Now, you must remember that these are just a few of the many versions that we have existing currently. And some of the versions, as I have shown you, are very gory and bloody. And actually, it is only until recently that a French writer named Charles Perrault has introduced a version in which cruelty was minimized so that they can show it to little children, for example, Disney's Cinderella story. So having been exposed to many versions, as I have shown you, I'd like to leave you with a question: which one would you prefer to read, either the gory one or the censored one? Also, will there be more or new Cinderellas? Thank you.